Hi, everybody. It's Mr. Bob again. Time for our story, The Peak, as we get into the section called The Twins. Hope you're enjoying our story. And again, we'll ask some questions at the end of the chapter just to kind of get you thinking about what's happening and why the story is the way it is. And some things to think about as you're reading just in general. Anyway, here is The Twins. The judge told us there was a swarm of reporters waiting in front of JDC, in other words, the Juvenile Detention Center, and we would have to leave the back way. My father was the first to go. He said he had some errands to run and he would meet me at the airport. It occurred to me that I should thank him, but by then he was halfway down the hall, tearing the tie off his neck like it was an anaconda. I guessed I would have plenty of time to thank him later since we were going to be spending the next 3 years together. Mom gave me my passport and a small backpack stuffed with clothes. Rolf had gone off to find the twins. Are you coming to the airport? I asked, still feeling a little bit numb. Of course, she said, but we may not have time to wait for your flight to leave. Rolf has a trial. I flipped through the pages of the passport. So you knew I was leaving. Not really, she answered. Josh got in late yesterday, and we spent the whole night trying to put this together. Are you okay with this? I don't know, she said. It would have been nice to plan it out a bit more, but Josh has to get back. It's probably just as well. I think the thing that tipped it for the judge was the fact that you would be gone today. Poof, I said. She smiled. And we can get you back as fast as you disappeared. She pulled out a credit card and an international calling card from her purse and gave them to me. If things go sour, or you just want to come home, use these. I slipped the cards into the pocket of one of the moleskins in my pack. Once you get there, we'll ship whatever clothes you want. How long? I asked. That's up to you, I guess. If you make it to the end of the summer, we'll reevaluate. But if you want to come back sooner, all we have to do is call. The judge didn't put any restrictions on when you could come back. What about Dad? I asked. I know exactly what you mean, she said. Josh seems to have mellowed since the last time we saw him. He traveled a long way to help. I can't tell you how shocked I was when he stepped into Tracy's office. I thought at that point we were absolutely desperate. The best Tracy thought she could do was get a reduced sentence. Josh listened to the situation, then proceeded to outline exactly what happened today in the courtroom. When you're at the end of your rope, there's no one better than Joshua Wood. Unfortunately, he doesn't pay much attention until you're dangling. She laughed. Rolf and Tracy said she should have become an attorney instead of a mountain climber. I'd better go talk to the twins, I said. As soon as Rolf and Mom left us alone, Patrice and Paula burst into tears. Who's going to walk us to school? Who's going to walk us home? Who's going to play with us at the park? What about a birthday? Why did you have to climb that stupid building anyway? It was easy to become confused around the two Ps. They had a mysterious way of looking at things. They also tended to finish each other's sentences as they shared the same brain. I guess I should explain our relationship. They were born on my 8th birthday, which at first did not go over very well with me. You don't spend your 8th birthday in a loft with a babysitter while your mother and nervous stepfather are at the hospital having twins. From then on, your special day is going to be the twin special day too. It took me a good 2 years, but the twins finally won me over. They were brilliant, hilarious little peas, and worshipped the ground I walked on, which really helped. They had a full-time nanny for the first few years, but I started spending so much time with them, Mom and Rolf let her go. Paula and Patrice were probably the best birthday presents I could have ever gotten. And for the first time since I'd gotten busted, I really regretted climbing that stupid skyscraper. What was I going to do without the two Ps? Again, just a quick comment. Again, this is another thing that happens. Consequences that we don't expect. Something that can seem awful fun can turn dark awfully quick, because if we don't think things through, and even sometimes when we do, there are always consequences that are unintended, and this is definitely one of them for Peak. We read that your daddy is not the same as our daddy, Patrice sniffed. I cringed. Another terrible result from the moron climbing the skyscraper. We had never told them that I was their half-brother. Rolf and Mom thought it would just confuse them. They always underestimated the twins. But I hadn't wanted them to learn about it from the newspaper. It hadn't taken the reporters long to figure out Spider Boy was Joshua Wood's son. We're half-sisters, Patrice said. Paula shook her head and rolled her eyes. I already explained that to you. 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 1. That's a whole. Together, we are his whole sister. That's right, Patrice said. I forgot. I told you they had a mysterious way of looking at things. We always wondered why your last name was different from our last name, Paula said. I thought it was because we were twins and you weren't. Some kind of name rule. When Mom and Rolf got married, I kept Mom's maiden name, Marcello. Rolf offered to adopt me legally, but I passed. I liked my last name, and I didn't want to change it, and I didn't like Rolf all that much. There was really nothing the matter with him. It's just that he wasn't my real father. More on that later. You're going to Thailand, Patrice said. Where they make these. She pulled on my necktie. Not quite. Thailand is a country in Southeast Asia, just south of China. When will you come back, Paula said. I'm not sure, I said. Will you be here for our birthday? Birthdays, Patrice corrected. Will you? I hope so, I said, but it costs lots of money to fly from Thailand to New York. We have money. $64.35. Paula shook her head. $64.47. Is that enough? Maybe, I said. Look, I'm going to miss you, and I want you to write me a lot of letters. We promise, they said in unison. Mom and Rolf came back into the room. We better get going, Rolf said. Rolf pulled up to the departure curb at the airport, and we all got out. Mom started crying, and when the twins saw her crying, they started crying. I gave them a group hug. As I told them, I glanced at Rolf. He was standing off to the side, awkwardly as usual, and I realized that I was going to miss them too. I gently untangled myself from the girls and walked over to Rolf. I'm sorry about all the trouble, I said. Rolf put his hand on my shoulder and smiled. It's going to be pretty boring without you around. Take care of yourself. Don't hesitate to use those cards. He looked at Mom and the twins, and for the first time ever, I saw tears in his eyes. We're going to miss you. Well, that's the end of that particular section called The Twins. Next part of the chapter is called Rock Rats. We're going to stop there. It's a little bit shorter part, but I think the next chapter is fairly long. So rather than stopping in the middle, we'll stop there. Anyway, as we've talked about, there are things that are important to recognize. And as I said, these kind of gifts keep on giving. And I don't mean in a good way. It's one of the reasons why it's important to think through everything when we do something. But even so, this is always the way life works out. There are things we never expect they're going to happen that come out of some of the best and some of the worst times of our lives. Sometimes there's really nothing we can do about it. We just have to make the best of it. In this case, that's what's going to happen with Peek. He's put himself into a new pickle, and now he's got to find the best way to use that pickle. Anyway, this is Mr. Bob. Hopefully talking next time, and we will see you later. Bye-bye.